Well, if they had not killed Malcolm X, probably the Black Panther Party would not have evolved. I found this Declaration of Independence piece, that first two paragraphs that said, when in the course of human events it becomes necessary for any one people to dissolve the political bondage which have connected them with another, when a long train of abuses and usurpations pursues and invariably evinces a design to reduce a people under absolute despotism. Well, this kind of phrasing, this kind of thinking, and our understanding, particularly to where I was coming from in my decisions to help to create this organization, was all about this need to change and alter the government, to evolve some community-controlled kind of political power back into the hands of African-American people in the black community. So we went down to the War on Poverty office, 3 blocks from my house. It's right there in North Oakland. And we sit down and decided right there by October 15th to start writing out this 10-point platform and program for this new organization.
Many people don't understand that the Black Panther Party's 10-point program and platform was basically a statement of principles. And it was around these principles that we organized in the black community.
Point 1 said we want power. We want power to determine the destiny of our own community. And it went through a series of issues.
We wanted decent housing. We wanted to determine the destiny of our community.
Decent education that taught us about our true history. We wanted fair treatment in the courts, juries of our peers.
We wanted to end to police brutality. We wanted a relevant education that taught us who we were and our role in society.
We wanted land, bread, housing, education, clothing, justice, and peace. We wanted to organize political, electoral, black community power.
The point was not to show what the government was not doing. The point was to show the community how the community could empower itself and how the community could organize.
So we wrote this program, 10 points of what we want, then 10 collateral points of what we believe.
And these principles and stated objectives of the Black Panther Party were the heart of its program.
We still didn't have a name for this organization. I had gotten a pamphlet from the Lowndes County Freedom Organization. So I said, Huey, why they got this logo for this panther here? At another point that day, Huey said, you know, I think the nature of a panther is that if you push it in the corner, and if it can't go left and it can't go right, it's going to tend to come out that corner to wipe out the aggressor who pushed it in the corner in the first place. I said, that's what the racists have done, Huey. They didn't push us black folks into the corner. And we decided to name it the Black Panther Party at first, and then we said, well, wait a minute, we're going to take a position on self-defense. So me and Huey agreed in the Black Panther Party for self-defense. So that was the night, October 22nd, the finalizing founding evening night. Because this is what happened. Huey was saying, okay, we're going to have some officers. So I flipped for chairman, a coin, a silver dollar. I flip, I say, heads, I'm chairman. Boom, it landed on heads. I say, I'm chairman. I go ready to hand Huey the silver dollar, and I pull back. I says, you don't need to flip. So Huey say, what do you mean I don't need to flip? I says, wait a minute, Huey. I says, only 2 of us. Oh, that's right. I says, you automatically minister to defense. So I got chairman. Yeah.
Huey and Bobby said, we want an immediate end to police brutality and the murder of black people. That was rampant in the Bay Area, all over the country.
It's always been a society of working class whites pitted against blacks. They had nothing else they could do but be police and try to come out of their Oklahoma Dust Bowl, I'm gonna kick your ass nigger kind of attitude.
There was an incident where a police had shot a black man in the back and then went and planted a gun next to him and said that the guy had drawn a gun on him, which we found out after investigation the guy didn't have no gun. Police had shot him in cold blood. Then they had another example where another black man was shot. But every young black man that was being shot during that time, the police never got indicted for murder or nothing. If anything, they got a promotion.
Oakland has one of the highest infant mortality rates among black people across the United States. Add to that miseducation, unemployment, police terror, and the rest. This all helped give rise to the Panther Party in that particular place at that time.
The real first patrol was down on 7th Street in West Oakland, California. We had 11 or 12 brothers that night.
Huey, Bobby, little Bobby Hutton, the Forte brothers, Sherman, who was also a part of that first cadre, and Albert Big Man Howard.
I'm telling Huey on the walkie-talkie because I'm riding in the lead car. Huey, we got a policeman down here. There's a lot of people down here in the corner. Let's get out here, man, because he's arresting somebody. We pull over, we park legally. We're 100 and some feet away. We all pile out the cars. We're a well-organized group, and we're observing the police under the law, and we're not going to take any crap from them if they do try something. But we want to recruit the people. We're trying to capture the imagination of the people in the community to let them know. I think somebody I remember saying, what they got, sticks? Because, you know, it's dark, and people don't expect to see people with guns, black folks, right? And it's nighttime like. And somebody said, man, no, them some goddamn guns. And somebody said, I'm getting the hell out of here. Huey tells this brother who says, I'm getting out of here, he says, no, you don't have to leave. We're a new organization. We're the Black Panther Party. We're here to observe these police out here. We've been brutalizing our people in the community. So please stay. We've researched the law. Everybody know we have a right to observe the police. Well, that got the police's attention. He stands up. You have no right to observe me, he hollers at Huey. But Huey says, no. Huey's citing the specifics of the damn law. And some sister in the audience said, well, go ahead on and tell it. And another brother said, what kind of Negroes is these? And the cop says, well, is that gun loaded? Huey said, if I know it's loaded, that's good enough. This scene, man, is a scene where, bang, when Huey says, clap, if I know it's loaded, that's good enough, it caused little Bobby to say, yeah, that's right, I haven't jacked around in China. And the other brothers with the long guns, and the cop turned around and saw all these people jacking the rounds off in the chamber. It blew his mind. He was awed. He stepped over to his arrestee. He opened the back door. Unconsciously, he protected the arrestee's head, put him in the car, shut the door. Then he stopped to look at the sister. And he was shocked because the sister had the earrings on. That a female was even there with a big old 44 strapped down, something like Clint Eastwood or something. Well, what are we doing? We passing out the 10-point platform program. Political education session meeting is at 2 p.m. at 5624 Grove Street up in North Oakland. Please be there, brothers and sisters, because we're going to organize some political, electoral, community power in the black community. That's how the Black Panther Party got started.
The party came on the scene at a time in which black people had become increasingly frustrated at conditions in this country.
The whole black revolt was, as far as I was concerned, a little late coming. They should have gone forth with their activities much earlier than they did.
I came into the Black Panther Party and knowing about the Black Panther Party as a student at San Francisco City College. You had people such as Mimar Baraka, which is known as Leroy Jones at that time. You had Kwame Ture, which was Stokely Carmichael at that time. And you had Rap Brown, and you had Sonia Sanchez, all those different people. It was through going through the Black House, I came in contact with some brothers named Huey and Bobby who used to come through there from time to time.
May 2nd, 1967, when I led a delegation to the California State Legislature, 24 males and 6 females. Ronald Reagan was on the lawn. All the little kids he was speaking to out there on the front lawn left. These are little white kids, you know, 8, 9, 10, 11 years old. They came over. They thought we was a gun club. Need 30-06, some of the little kids were saying. But the press followed them, too. Therefore, I read Executive Mandate No. 1, written by myself, Huey Newton, and Eldridge Cleveland.
The Black Panther Party for Self-Defense calls upon the American people in general and the black people in particular to take careful note of the racist California legislature, which is now considering legislation aimed at keeping the black people disarmed and powerless. At the very same time, racist police agencies throughout the country are intensifying the terror, brutality, murder, and repression of black people.
That gave us international notoriety because we were arrested and we was all bailed out the next day or so, etc., and boom.
Get your hands up.
At a traffic stop, an altercation occurred. A police officer was killed, Huey Newton was wounded and went to jail.
I will be freed, providing that we're successful in the battle that we're engaged in now, and that is to revolutionize the court system. It all depends upon this problem.
Huey was facing the gas chamber. Bobby Seale and a handful of all the other members who'd gone to Sacramento were in jail. They were serving time. So it really wasn't much of a organization.
At that point, the Black Panther Party totally fell apart. It didn't exist.
I was in the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, so I came out then in November of 1967 to work with Eldridge organizing the support around Huey's case.
Do you have any money?
No, I'm in a severe state of poverty.
What about the Huey Newton Defense Fund?
I don't know too much about the Huey Newton Defense Fund, actually.
Who's paying your attorney's fee?
I believe the Huey Newton Defense Fund.
I come out of jail. Eldridge Cleaver is back because Huey has been shot. He has put out one issue that says, "Free Huey."
Free Huey! Free Huey! Free Huey now! Free Huey! Black is beautiful! Free Huey! Say how are you free? Free Huey!
Peoples of the world are demanding that Huey P. Newton be set free. So in defense of our lives, for the survival of black people and human beings of the world, we all say in solidarity that Huey P. Newton must be set free or the sky is the limit around the world.
I reorganize and restructure the party. I extend the rules of the party in a matter of 2 months to 28 rules. You know, I create the captain and David Hilliard's position and stuff. I create all of this stuff.
The Black Panther Party has revived. It's changed its name from the Black Panther Party for Self-Defense to the Black Panther Party. It's become a very widely acknowledged organization in the Bay Area.
I was deputy chairman of Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. Put me in touch with a lot of people in the Panther Party. The alliance was formed in 1968. The Panther Party emerged in Oakland, California, and did not have a national base. SNCC had a much longer history, had in many ways more seasoned activists. H. Rap Brown was drafted into the Black Panther Party as Minister of Justice. Kwame Ture was, or Stokely, was drafted as Prime Minister of the Afro-American nation. James Foreman was drafted as Minister of Foreign Affairs and Director of Political Education.
I can remember seeing on television people like Stokely Carmichael and others.
Violence is a part of America's culture. It is as American as cherry pie.
Against all forms of racism.
And they were scary to me even. So if it would shock a person like me being in the CIA, certainly the ordinary society and the elites, above all, who run the United States, would have been very threatened.
Black power means dignity. See, it's no in-between. You're either free or you're a slave. There's no such thing as second-class citizenship. The only politics in this country that's relevant to black people today is the politics of revolution.
That we must arm ourselves, that we are in imminent danger, that the concentration camps in Tule Lake, in Arizona, and Oklahoma are now being rejuvenated, reset up for us, and we will defend ourselves.
I don't believe in guerrilla warfare. I think it would be both impractical, ineffective, and immoral. So I can't believe in this at all. I think we must see, on the other hand, however, that the young militants are in the revolutionary spirit, and they are concerned about revolutionizing certain values that have been existing in our society that need to be revolutionized. And I think the other thing that we must see is that, as President Kennedy said, those who make peaceful revolution impossible only make violent revolution inevitable.
Because when we start saying the war is wrong in Vietnam, well, people looked at us like we were something out of space. But when they talked about the other day of the Gallup poll being 58% of the people against the war in Vietnam, then we see if you're right, you have to stand on that principle, and if it's necessary to die on the principle, because I am sick of the racist war in Vietnam when we don't have justice in the United States.
They're a bloody good bunch of killers.
We're going to commit troops to the Vietnamese people, the National Liberation Front, to fight the cowardly American aggressor.
Who's
and the Black Panther Party.
Panthers.
That's right.
The question is whether
our nation has the will, and I submit that if we can spend $35 billion a year to fight an ill-considered war in Vietnam and $20 billion to put a man on the moon, our nation can spend billions of dollars to put God's children on their own 2 feet right here on earth.
I'm going to make this known at the Paris peace talks so that it can be accepted or rejected by the Vietnamese people. But in the spirit of internationalism and the spirit of international solidarity, we plan to do this, and we would do this for any people who are fighting against American imperialism.
I've heard several comments from people that was talking about with the people, for the people, and by the people. Being a black woman from Mississippi, I've learned that long ago that's not true. It's with a handful, for a handful, by a handful. But we're going to change that, baby. We're going to change that because we're going to make democracy a reality for all of the people of this country.
And I say that that is a great need now for a radical reordering of priorities in America, and that is a great need for a revolution of values. We've got some difficult days ahead, but it really doesn't matter with me now because I've been to the mountaintop. I don't mind. Like anybody, I would like to live a long life. Longevity has its place, but I'm not concerned about that now. I just want to do God's will. And He's allowed me to go up to the mountain. And I've looked over. And I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land. So I'm happy tonight. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
And then a man with a rifle blew his head open. And from the apartments and the ghettos and slums of America, and all the places he'd been, you can put it on a map, and the places that Dr. King had been is where they came out in rage and bitterness that this could happen to this non-violent prophet of social change, committed, driven to create social change, to achieve social justice for all the people in the society and in the world.
Some were happy. If they went, if they thought black men should be killed.
I was just driving into Marlon Brando's house up in Beverly Hills. He was lying on the bed when I went in, and I said, have you heard the news? He says, what's that? I said, Martin Luther King was just shot and dead. Marlon didn't say much. He's as though he was in one of his movie roles. He got up very silently and said, so King is dead. And he went into the telephone and called up the Panther office in San Francisco. Meanwhile, I told his secretary to call the gun shop and order up a number of pistols, rifles, and so forth and so on. I said, Marlon, what are you going to do with those? He said, I'm going to shoot my way all the way to Washington, D.C.
Martin Luther King, I think he was killed, just had a plain hatred, a racial hatred.
Hoover hated Martin Luther King. I mean, it's just that simple. And he wanted Martin Luther King destroyed because he felt that he might be a messiah for the black people.
The CIA, the DIA, and others, we still don't know all of the dynamics because we're just finding out now about the military intelligence.
Only our brother Martin Luther King exhausted a means of nonviolence with his life being taken by some racist. What is being done to us is what we hate, and what happened to Martin Luther King is what we hate. You darn right. We respect nonviolence. But nonviolence on the part of who? On the part of racists in this country, on the part of the racists who've infested the police department, who are organized and maintained by the power structure. We want nonviolence, just like Martin Luther King. But to sit and watch ourselves to be slaughtered, like our brother, like Huey was shot, etc., we must defend ourselves, as Malcolm X said, by any means necessary.
2 days later, they murdered Bobby Hutton in the shootout that had happened 2 days after Martin Luther King.
About 50 police were shooting into this one house for 90 minutes. And they didn't know who was inside. They threw in tear gas canisters to force the people to come out. The tear gas canister, one of them, exploded and caught on fire. So this was a burning basement. Eldridge and Bobby Hutton were the only people in that basement, actually. Eldridge told Bobby Hutton to take off all his clothes because when he went out, if he was naked, the police would be shocked and they wouldn't shoot him. But he was embarrassed, and he only took off his shirt. So when he came out with just pants, he was immediately shot by 7 or 8 policemen and killed.
Bobby Hutton was 17 years old. He was a Black Panther. He'd been a Black Panther. He was one of the original founders of the Black Panther Party.
This was not a police action. It was a search and destroy mission. It was very clear that it was about killing, that the police intended to kill Panthers.